Hey guys, it's Tahira, and today I'm doing my October wrap-up. So, October was not the best of reading months for me. I only read about 4 books, which is not good because I usually read around 5 to 6, but I don't know, October was just really busy with school, and I was just reading every book just really slowly for some reason. So yeah, I ended up only getting to 4 books, but I'm excited to tell you what I thought about these books. The first book I read in the month of October was a perfect fit for this spooky month, and that is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. The City of Ghosts follows the main character Cass as her parents are offered a gig in Edinburgh to basically talk about the history of ghosts in that city. And Cass can also speak to ghosts, and her best friend is a ghost named Jacob. So they all go to Edinburgh, and Cassidy basically finds out that the ghost world is much darker than she thinks. She also finds out that there are other people that have gifts like her, and she discovers a lot more about her powers and basically about ghosts and the ghost world. This book is middle grade, but I really enjoyed it because it's Victoria Schwab, and I love everything by Victoria Schwab. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I thought this was actually a pretty good middle grade, even though the plotline was pretty simple because it is middle grade and some people called it too simple. But I think you should look at the demographic of the book. This book is meant for 8 to 12-year-olds, and for them to understand it, the plot has to be simpler than what some YA are. If you have the same complex plot line, for example, the Darker Shade of Magic series, and gave it to a 12-year-old, the kid would not understand it as well. So yeah, this is just my 2 cents. Look at the demographic of the book, and I agree, it is a bit simple, but I really enjoyed it because Victoria Schwab always adds her touch of magic, and she makes every book hers. You can always tell it's a Victoria Schwab book by its themes and its ideas, and she focuses a lot on ghosts and death and a lot of those types of dark things. So you can always tell it's a V.E. Schwab or a Victoria Schwab book because of themes, and this was no different, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited for the second book to find out what happens. So the second book I read in the month of October was the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. Air of Fire, as I said, is the 3rd book in the Throne of Glass series, and I was rereading this as my reread thing for Kingdom of Ash. The only sad thing is I couldn't actually finish the reread because I didn't have time. I overestimated myself, and I didn't have time to read Queen of Shadows, Empire Storms, or Tower of Dawn again. So I had to just get on to Kingdom of Ash. But I am reading Kingdom of Ash right now. I'm loving it. I'm actually filming a reading vlog for it, so that should go up pretty soon as I'm done with the book. And I'll also have a review of Kingdom of Ash soon after that, so look out for those videos soon. Sometime in November it will happen. But yeah, Air of Fire is basically where the Throne of Glass series changes a lot. The story turns a completely different way, and after this book always takes me really long to read for some reason. Even the first time I read it, it just took me a really long time, and this time it also took me 10 days to finish it, which I don't know why. I don't know, this book always takes me just a longer. Maybe it's because of the length, but I don't know. The story is a bit slow because in the beginning all Aelin is doing is going to Rowan and just figuring things out about her world and her life. Yeah, because she's the Queen of Terracent, so she has to adjust to that a little bit. But yeah, Air of Fire is a good book, but it's not one of my favorites in the series just because it's a little slow, and I just don't overall enjoy it as much as the others. The 3rd book I read in the month of October is actually a library book that I already returned, and that is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. Vengeful is an adult companion novel to her book Vicious, which came out 5 years ago, so the sequel came out after 5 years. Follows 5 years after the first book ends. I really enjoyed Vengeful, even though it took me also 10 days to read. I don't know why, it just took me a really long time, even though it's not that long of a book. I really enjoyed Vengeful, and I actually absolutely loved the 2 new main characters, Marcella and June, and I really loved to read about their perspectives and their story. It was just really interesting, and the questions and the topics and discussions that V.E. Schwab always brings to her books is always fascinating to read about. I love V.E. Schwab / Victoria Schwab so much. She's an auto-buy author for me at this point because I will always buy her books because I always know they're amazing. Vengeful was no different. It was so amazing, and it is adult, but it's just so amazing. If you did not know, Vicious is about these 2 medical students that find out they can get superpowers if they experience near-death experiences. It's really, really interesting to talk about extraordinaries, of people with special powers are called extraordinaries, and how they got their power and what it means. It's just really, really interesting. So yeah, I really, really recommend Vengeful. If you have read Vicious, it's such a great companion novel / sequel, and I highly recommend it because it's amazing. The fourth book and final book that I read in the month of October is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Clockwork Princess is the third and final book in the Instrument Devices. No. Clockwork Princess is the final book in the Infernal Devices trilogy by Cassandra Clare. It is part of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and as you may know or may not know, if you're new here, hey, subscribe. But if you do not know, I'm doing a whole Shadowhunter Chronicle reread over this entire year, and I've been rereading everything from the Immortal Instruments to the Infernal Devices to the Dark Artifices to all the short story collections in between. I'm reading all of it in preparation for Queen of Air and Darkness coming out in December. So yeah, I'm kind of panicking now because it's November now and I still have like 5 books to read for the Shadowhunter Chronicles, so I might skip the short story collections and just move on to the Dark Artifices because I only have City of Heavenly Fire and Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows to get through. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. But at the rate I'm reading right now, I don't know if I can get through all Shadowhunter books. Unless you want to see all Shadowhunter books in my next wrap-up. I mean, I could do that. Clockwork Princess, so good. One of my favorite Cassandra Clare books ever and one of my favorite books of all time. It's just so emotional, heartbreaking, and so much, like, it's so sad. Oh my god. Like, I was rereading the epilogue of Clockwork Princess and I was just remembering again like how sad it is. I forgot. And I was reading again and it talked about Tessa and Will's life and Jem's life, and it was just so sad, and oh my god, I felt like crying. You all know I don't cry in books and I never really have, but this honestly felt like, I honestly felt like crying because it was so sad, especially reading about Will's death and their children and how Tessa doesn't want to see her kids die because she'll be younger than them and she doesn't want to see them age and everything. It was so sad. Anyway, yes, that's my emotional rant. This book is really good. If you've read Cassandra Clare, okay, a lot of people have read The Mortal Instruments, but I've hated it. Like, after reading like the first couple books, and I agree, it's not that good from the beginning, but it gets so much better. You have to read the Infernal Devices. It's so good, and this is one of my favorite books of all time. Like, I will just reread just the epilogue over and over and over again because the epilogue, I think, is one of my favorite epilogues of any book ever. So yeah, read this book. It was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I haven't even told you the ratings of any of these books. Ha. So, City of Ghosts, I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Airfire, I gave a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Vengeful, I gave a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And Clockwork Princess, of course, I gave a solid 5 out of 5 stars. This is the type of book, if I could give it 6 stars, I would. But yeah, that is it for my October wrap-up. Let me know down below what is your favorite book that you read in the month of October, as I would love to know. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!